I just want to welcome everyone today at our Sutton Friends of Palestine screening of Gaza Journalists Under Fire. I'm just going to do a quick run through of the events for today. Everything that you see here today, the cakes, the food, all the money being raised with the tickets is going towards a charity called Seven Spikes Relief. And we've raised money for Seven Spikes Relief on a number of occasions. They're a small charity, but they're an amazing charity who have a lot of people on the ground in Gaza doing a lot of amazing work. I think our first event we did for them, the first event we did for Seven Spikes Relief, we actually built a solar-powered well in Gaza. And that was after one event, alhamdulillah. That was all thanks to all you attendees and everyone who came.
شكرا أصدقاء فلسطين في ساتون على محبتكم ودعمكم.
Thank you Sutton Friends of Palestine for your love and support. أنا بحبكم كتير.
شكرا أصدقاء فلسطين نسلم يديك.
بنشكر إخواننا في مجموعة أصدقاء فلسطين في ساتون وكل الشكر والاحترام من قلب شمال قطاع غزة الصابر الصامت. الحمد لله رب العالمين بسد حاجة الناس قدر الإمكان بعد قصف القوات الاحتلال كل آبار المياه في شمال قطاع غزة.
Also a special shout out to Taste of Palestine who are here today. They're a restaurant in Rose Hill. If you haven't been to Taste of Palestine, everyone needs to check them out. They've got amazing food, and thanks to them, all the Gaza cola today that's been donated is special thanks to Taste of Palestine.
Hi there everybody, can you hear me okay? My name's Graham Bissett, I'm chair of the Sutton Amnesty International group, and we are really delighted to be here tonight along with Sutton Friends of Palestine. I thought I would just run through just 4 or 5 slides telling a little bit about what Amnesty is doing on Palestine and mentioning a little bit. So what's Amnesty doing around the world on Palestine? Amnesty's had ongoing concerns in Gaza and the West Bank for years, well before 2023. They had a campaign running called Demolish Apartheid, Not Palestine Homes. Amnesty has no position on territorial claims. That's an important thing for you to understand, that Amnesty actually can't take sides in terms of the territorial issue. That said, Amnesty were the first to publish a report saying genocide was being committed in Gaza. That was released in December 2024. Amnesty has offices at the UN in New York and Geneva and provides trusted information on Gaza and the IOPT to the various bodies that make up the UN there. Amnesty released a report just yesterday saying the Israeli authorities are still committing genocide against Palestinians in the occupied strip. Next slide, please. What's Amnesty doing in the UK on Gaza and Palestine? AIUK members take part in the marches for Palestine. Some local groups hold weekly vigils. Amnesty UK are intervening at the High Court on the judicial review of a Palestine action, which is happening this week. Amnesty has an ongoing Amnesty campaign to ban Israeli settlement goods as well. There's also a campaign to protect journalists worldwide, and a little bit more about that in a minute or two. And just this week, Amnesty UK launched a Defend Dissent student campaign to try and protect all those students who've been campaigning on Palestine in their campuses all around the UK. Next slide, please. Can you play the video? This is just a 1-minute video.
Don't let anyone tell you this all started on the 7th of October 2023. 76 years ago, my own family were displaced during the Nakba of 1948, when more than 700,000 Palestinians became refugees. They were displaced again in 1967 by the Israeli military, this time from the Golan Heights. And today, many of my friends live under Israeli military rule and illegal apartheid in the West Bank in places like Jenin and Nablus. So yes, the hundreds of thousands of people marching today in London at this national demonstration are calling for an immediate ceasefire, but also an end to 76 years of displacement, discrimination, and devastation. And when there is no accountability, there's no reason to change or to stop. And that's why 1 year on, Israel has escalated its attacks on Lebanon, leading to more devastation and death. The UK government must act. We won't stop until there's an immediate ceasefire, a ban on all arms sales to Israel, and the end of apartheid against Palestinians.
That video was taken last year, and it just shows that in London, Amnesty was, participating on quite a few of those marches. That video you just saw got over 9 million views on Twitter. So I want to read out this, because we're talking about journalists tonight, and you're going to see a film about journalists. I thought I would read out this that is very pertinent. It's based on Pastor Niebuller's piece written in Nazi Germany, First They Came, and we used it in the Amnesty. Okay, I'll just read this later. First they came for the journalists, and I did not speak out, because they said it was all fake news. Then they came for the protesters, and I did not speak out, because at least the disruption stopped. Then they came for our laws, and I did not speak out, because I thought that couldn't happen here. Then they came for the truth, and I did not speak out, because I didn't know what it was anymore. Now they've come for me, and I can't speak out, because it's too late. And that's what's happening now. Thank you for listening. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good evening and welcome to Sutton Friends of Palestine screening of Gaza Journalists Under Fire. I'm here to just give a very quick introduction to the film so you know what it's about before you see it. I just would like to start with a very short quote from Reporters Without Borders. At the rate journalists are being killed in Gaza by the Israeli army, there will soon be no one left to keep you informed. As of November the 19th, 2025, at least 250 journalists and media workers have been killed in Gaza since the Israel-Gaza war began on October the 8th, 2023. That's according to the Committee to Protect Journalists. That's more journalists killed than in both world wars combined in just over 2 years, thus making it the deadliest period for journalists on record. Every day, social media platforms are silencing Palestinians by eyewitness videos from the Gaza genocide being deleted, accounts suspended, entire histories vanishing in seconds because of a single algorithm or silent takedown. We must, therefore, continue to raise our voices against the daily injustices meted out to the Palestinians by the Israeli government and the Israeli occupation force. In this poignant new documentary we're just about to see, Robert Greenwald, the producer, does exactly that by exposing Israel's crimes against journalism and humanity through the lives and deaths of Palestinian journalists Bilal Jadala, Heba al-Abadla, and Ismail al-Ghul. So without further ado, the screening of Gaza Journalists Under Fire will now be shown. Thank you.
Everybody please stick around because we are going to have a live Q&A with this Robert Greenwald, the film's producer. If anybody would like to say a couple of words and keep it brief, do please come to the front. Yeah.
So my name is Jerry, I'm from Wandsworth Friends of Palestine. We're holding an event on Wednesday the 10th of December. And it's going to be a screening of Doctors Under Attack, followed by a panel discussion with 2 doctors, 1 British, 1 Palestinian, and a Palestinian member of the film crew. So you're all very welcome to come to that. Thank you.
Super, thank you.
I just want to say that we are having an effect. The Palestine movement is having an effect, and we shouldn't give up. If we weren't having an effect, the government wouldn't be trying to remove a trial by jury. They wouldn't be trying to. They wouldn't have prescribed a totally harmless, non-violent action group. We know, you know who I'm talking about. We are totally having an effect. It's the government that won't move. They are complicit, but the public, the majority, they're with us. You know, I mean, if you look at polls, 62% of British people realise that Israel is committing a genocide. Well over half of them condemn Israel. If you look at the surveys, the Palestine movement is having an effect, and we are moving people. We just have to keep on. We have to keep plugging on. If the government didn't find us a threat, they wouldn't be taking all these actions against us, trying to clamp down our protests. We are scaring them, and we have to keep going. We have to keep fighting, and that's all I want to say.
How are we doing, Kashif?
Well, so this is Robert from Brave Films, and Robert, thank you for joining us at this evening at Sutton Friends of Palestine screening of your movie, Gaza Journalists Under Fire. Can you just start off by telling me a little bit about yourself, Robert, and also why you decided to make this movie?
My name is Robert Greenwald. I'm the founder of a small non-profit called Brave New Films. I spent many years working in commercial film and television, and then about 15, maybe 20 years ago, I moved over, transitioned from commercial film and television into social justice nonprofit world, and made a series of documentaries, full-length, short, social media clips, and now we're able to do both documentaries and robust social media campaigns. We have over 1 million people who follow Brave New Films or myself on the various social media platforms, which of course, as we know, becomes an increasingly important way to reach people. So now we do screenings like this one. We've just passed 1,200 free screenings all around the world, including Gaza, including Israel, including South Africa, and including many cities and states in the United States. So we do the screenings. If you go to any of the social media platforms, either following me or Brave New Films, you'll see lots of clips and excerpts and messaging around Gaza, and most importantly, around actions that can help change the horrific policy that the United States is funding and allowing to continue. I decided to do that. Every time I decide to do one film, as many others were not able to do, because we are very small. We are very, very, very challenged to raise funds. And as you can imagine, choosing this subject only increased our challenges around fundraising. I'm fortunate enough, because I worked in commercial film and TV for many years, so I do not need to draw a salary, but my colleagues and co-workers do. So the fundraising part always limits somewhat our resources. As with several other films, when I started the process, I didn't know that there would be a film, but I felt strongly and started to feel even stronger and stronger that what Israel was doing was horrific. As a New York Jew, I felt a particularly strong moral and practical passion to do what I could about what our country was doing in allowing and helping and financing the horrors, and that allowed me the moral feeling, the emotional feeling, and then thank goodness for the internet, where so many courageous and wonderful Palestinian journalists and videographers and people were posting their experiences that I was able to draw from, and that became the basis of the film you saw.
Thank you, Robert. Excellent. I think you've covered this a little bit already, but how far and wide has this movie been shown? I think you said more than 1,000 screenings, is that correct? And what's been the response when you've done the screenings?
It's actually, not to quibble, but it's 1,200 screenings, all free.
You will forgive me 200.
Yeah, thank you. That we've surpassed. The response has been very impactful on a couple of levels. Most importantly, people who've seen the film have helped, because it's free and because we're on social, have reached out to other people to see the film. And so the 1,200 screenings literally all over the world have happened without our having a $1 zillion budget to take ads. Because people like yourself and people who are in the room there see it, are moved, are affected, and decide they're going to tell a relative, a friend, a colleague, a teacher, a minister, someone else about the film, and that other person should see the film. So it continues to spread in that way, which is very measurable. And then, having done many, many documentaries over the years, I would say the emotional response to this film has been among, or if not the strongest emotion. Why is that? It's because a couple of factors. One is the traditional media in the United States has done a horrifically bad job of telling the personal stories. Yes, they've put up numbers. Yes, they've given facts. But it's the humanity of the people who are being murdered that is so important to communicate. And when people ask me over the years, what does Brave New Films do? I will often say our job is, and what we try to do, is to put a face on policy. So people seeing and watching the film get to know multi-level, multi-character human beings with friends and relatives and children, and then to experience the killing of those people has been very devastating. Nowhere near, let's be very clear, nowhere near what the Palestinians are going through, but it has affected the audiences, and therefore they are recommending and suggesting and encouraging others to see the film. And then we're in a very critical time right now with the so-called ceasefire, which is not a ceasefire, to help motivate and direct people towards actions that they can take. There are some legislative actions in the United States. There will be more of those. There will be efforts to cut the funding, to reallocate the resources, and there'll be advocacy organizations, from boycotts to civil disobedience, more and more. It's only going to grow. It's not growing fast enough because people are being killed every day. And as you may know, Israel, if there's any question that the targeting of journalists is intentional, it's very, very clear. There's a law that's been introduced in Israel that would allow Israel, without any other factors, to decide which media organizations to literally ban from Gaza and the West Bank. Why is that? it's because they do not want the story getting out there and being seen. And every time we get the defense, well, Israel killed this one or that one because he or she were Hamas, it's a very simple answer. Let journalists in, let truth tellers in, let them observe, and let them tell us what's going on. It's not enough that Amnesty and Reporters Without Borders and the United Nations and on, Human Rights Watch, all of them have done their work and reported, but the ability to have journalists come in and tell the stories that are being told on Instagram. I mean, what I have seen and felt and responded to on Instagram, it's extraordinary. But that needs to happen on a bigger and wider scale. And the reason Israel has introduced that bill, which looks like it's going to pass, is because they do not want that story out there.
Thank you, Robert. How did you obtain the footage from Gaza?
Sorry, the question?
The question was, how did you obtain the footage from Gaza, the video footage?
There are a couple of ways. So one way is social media, where much of it is, or some of it has been posted. When I made the decision we were going to follow these journalists, we then went to their social media pages and were able to obtain lots of footage. We, of course, asked any living friends or relatives or colleagues if it was okay with them. And that elicited a response from several people, including Sabine, who is Hadim's sister, who went to the location and filmed herself. You saw in the film, she talked about her sister being killed, the number of relatives being killed. Also, co-workers went to the location where the Freedom House had been bombed and destroyed and recorded from there. So it was finding existing footage on social media, existing footage in newscasts, and then these extraordinarily brave and courageous people who wanted the story of their friends or relatives told and reached out to us and sent us videos. Horribly, we've not heard from Sabine in a while, and I hope she's alive, but it's not clear whether she is or isn't.
I think there are a lot of people that we don't know whether they're alive or not, to be honest, so
yes,
that's part of the tragedy of it. I think a comment we've had from one person is, I'm feeling so depressed after the movie documentary. We have lost so many innocent people. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes, that's the truth, and we'll never know how many. Is it 50,000? Is it 70,000? There's a recent study now saying it was 200 have been killed. What I hope the film can do is not depress to the point of inactivity, but arouse the heart, arouse the emotion, so that people will want to do something and find out what they can do. It's different in each country, it's different in each organization, it's different for each person, but it's so critical that every one of us do whatever we can. It won't be instant, it won't be quick enough, but it will make a difference. In the United States, by the way, where AIPAC, which is the organization that funds candidates who are in lockstep with Israel, they're having a rough time right now because public opinion in the United States has moved radically in a relatively short period of time. Now, again, it's not short enough for those who've been killed and murdered, and families and homes. and hospitals and schools destroyed, but it is moving. And we're seeing the politicians in the United States begin to change and change on the policy. Some of them are affected morally. Some of them have always believed in it, like the new mayor of New York City, Zoran Mamdani, who's extraordinary in his communication on this issue. And there will be more of that. So I'm hopeful that sooner rather than later, there will be the beginning of reducing literally the billions of dollars the United States has spent on this. We released a short video, a couple of minutes, last week, the week before, and it was, what would you do with $31 billion, which is how much, rough estimate, the United States has given Israel for war efforts. So we show it could eliminate homelessness, it could send this, could build this number of houses, send this number of people to school, provide this amount of health care for people. And that's important because it will be an issue. I would love it if everybody responded on a moral and human level. That's not going to happen, but we want to get as many people responding and active as possible. And when they see that money is going to Israel to kill people and could be used to educate people, it does begin to make a difference. It also allows us to have allies who are conservative, and we not agree on any other issue, but on this one, we will find agreement.
Okay. Okay. So I think one of the audience is saying, you know, this analysis you did of the 31 billion that could have been saved and what we could do in the US. It would be good to do the same analysis for the UK and how much money, how that money could have been spent in the UK, how much money we spent. Do you have any ideas? Do you know what the figure is for UK?
I have no idea, but if somebody there was able to do the research and send it to us, we will make every effort we can to create something, or anyone there can create it. The technology to tell that story is relatively simple. You can use the model of what we did. Pick 5 issues that would help people in the UK. Schools, homeless, jobs, you name it, and then compare, and it will affect people.
That's excellent. I think that's something we should learn from you guys and do in the UK. Finally, a couple more questions. What's the best resource to get information about the situation in Gaza? Because there's so much fake media out there, what do you trust in terms of getting the real news out of Gaza?
That's a very good question. There's a tremendous amount of fake media. Sometimes you can't tell that it's fake. There are a couple of sources in the United States that are quite good on this. There's a publication, it's online, called The Intercept, which has done a tremendous job. They're very good. Ryan Grimm and Jeremy Scahill have started a relatively new organization. They're very good. Those are the 2 I would say I use the most. And then, the United Nations will put out a report. Some of the people from the United States and United Nations, including Francesca, who's in the movie, will put out reports. Amnesty just put out a report yesterday saying that the killing is not stopped, it is still a genocide. So the combination of those media organizations, as well as the advocacy, nonpartisan, human rights, Amnesty, United Nations, Reporters Without Borders, Committee for the Protection of Journalists, that's a reasonable combination of factors depending on how much time you have to put into researching the truth. But there's an extraordinary consensus on this. Authorities, who are in Gaza, who are in the West Bank. There's very little disagreement on what is going on. There might be a disagreement about the numbers, but fundamentally, there's an extraordinary widespread consensus. And again, I hope I'm not being naive, but I believe that is going to continue to impact and affect people.
Okay, just a couple more questions, we're going to wrap up. Anybody from the audience, any questions? Okay, so one more question I have. I wanted to get your thoughts on Rafat Al-Amir, who was directly named as a well-known media personality for what happened to him. Rafat Al-Amir? Rafat Al-Arib, sorry, Rafat Al-Arib.
Yeah, I've not read enough, carefully enough, to expand my thoughts or ideas. I think what's clear is the number of journalists, the number of experts who have been killed and continue to be killed continues to rise. The number of children, breaks my heart, who've been killed continues to rise. Somebody said in the earlier question, the number of innocent people who are being destroyed continues to rise. We are going to, by the way, if you sign up for any of the social media, mine or Brave New Films, we are going, I hope in the next couple of weeks, to do some further work on the profiteering that's going on, those who are making money from this, and the election side of it, those who have adopted a position that's untenable. And then we're going to take some of the numbers. We'll take the low numbers. I don't know what it's been, 70, 80,000 homes have been destroyed. So that's just a number. What does that mean? How do you translate that? Is it 30 football fields? Is it a couple of cities? And we'll be doing that around number of homes destroyed, number of people killed, number of children killed, in an effort to get beyond numbers into something where people, like with the 31 billion, where people will experience really what that means, rather than your eyes glazing over when you just see a number.
Thank you. One last question. I think it's quite a personal question for you, I think. Somebody said it's an amazing documentary and it'll be a witness to the crimes committed. As you said, you're a person of Jewish background. So what's your own personal concern of what this movie and generally the genocide in Gaza is going to do for the image of Israel?
I think that I can't think of anything worse that Israel, the elected leaders, could do than what they're doing for the, quote, reputation, for the name, for the rise in anti-Semitism. I mean, if you wanted to encourage anti-Semitism, do what Bibi is doing. I can't think of a better way. It's infuriating. It's painful. Again, nowhere near what the people in Gaza are going through. It's given me nightmares, but I'm lucky in the way that I'm able to do something about it and not just be frustrated. This is going to take, I can't imagine how long, once there's a real peace, not the fake peace now where people continue to be killed every day. By the way, just a slight aside, there's a lot of good work online of people who are pointing out the difference in language. You know, if a Palestinian does it, it's a terrorist act. If an Israeli does it, it's a mistake. I mean, it goes on. and on. And I would encourage all of you in the UK it's something that almost anybody can do. Monitor the newspaper headlines, monitor the TV headlines, and you will see that discrepancy, whether it's racism or politics, and begin to continue to point it out. But to go back to the main question, I don't know how Israel ever, if they want to, and the opinion polls in Israel are horrible in terms of what people are willing to do, go along with the 2 Palestinians who had their hands up and were killed yesterday or the day before. So that we all have a lot of work to do, and I'm remain hopeful that with people like yourselves, people around the world will be able to take action, because it's so fundamentally horrific. And there's a wonderful book called One Day Everyone Will Always Have Been Against This. It just won the National Book Award in the United States. It's really brilliant. And I think it's true. One day everyone will always have been against this. But that's not good enough. It's now that we need people doing things.
Thank you. That was really, really good. We're going to wrap up now. Thank you so much. You want to move We want to just show you the audience. We had almost 100 people here, 100 plus people here for the viewing. So we just want to show you the audience if you can. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your time. I'll let you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Be well.